President-elect Donald Trump ran on a promise to abolish the U.S. Department of Education. And since he won the election, Education Week has heard one key question from educators and advocates. Can he really do that? The short answer is it's possible, but he can't do it alone. And winning support from Congress would be a serious uphill climb. First, what does the Department of Education do? It's important to note that 90 cents of every dollar spent on public K-12 education in this country comes from state and local sources, namely property taxes. The rest comes at the federal level. In K-12 education, the Education Department's key role is enforcement of the Every Student Succeeds Act, or ESSA. That law requires states to identify low-performing schools and intervene to support them. It also includes several key federal funding streams, most notably Title I, which helps support schools that educate large concentrations of students from low-income households. The Department of Education also oversees administration of the Individuals with Disabilities Education Act, which provides funding for special education programs and enforces rules that guarantee rights for students with disabilities in schools. The agency also investigates and monitors compliance with civil rights laws related to things like racial equity in public education. And it collects data on everything from academic achievement to the teacher workforce to how many students are suspended in a given year. On the higher education level, the Department of Education manages the massive student loan apparatus and administers the free application for student aid, or FAFSA. Even if President Trump somehow managed to abolish the Department of Education, all of those responsibilities would have to be parceled out to other agencies, unless Congress acted to dramatically change federal education policy. In his previous administration, President Trump proposed merging the Departments of Education and Labor, but those plans never got off the ground. So what would it take to eliminate the Department of Education? A lot of political capital. And even some of Trump's supporters believe he's likely to spend that political capital elsewhere. It would take an act of Congress to close a cabinet-level agency. Under current rules, it would take approval of 60 senators to bring major bills to a vote on the floor. Even if Trump had support from every senator in his own party, that's not enough to reach that 60-vote threshold. Republicans have been threatening to eliminate the Department of Education since the presidency of Ronald Reagan, shortly after the agency was created. Those who favor elimination say there should be a smaller federal role in education, and they've criticized federal efforts, like the Biden administration's position on the rights of transgender students. There's a saying that all politics is local, and public school districts may be the most local of local governing bodies. If any of these plans advance to retool federal education funding or eliminate the agency, it's likely that members of Congress will hear a flood of comments from superintendents in their districts who rely on this federal funding to keep their systems in the black. Even if Trump never follows through on plans to eliminate the Department of Education, his administration will make some changes. It's expected that they will change course in how they interpret and enforce civil rights laws related to LGBTQ students and racial disparities in school discipline. It's likely they'll also place a great emphasis on school choice efforts at the state and possibly federal level. And the administration is likely to propose cuts to federal education spending. Those cuts would also require approval from Congress. However a change in presidents affects what happens in your school, Education Week promises to keep you up to date on the latest issues.